Hi there, welcome to Gifted Guitars. Today we're doing something totally different that doesn't even have to do with guitars. I was asking my wife, what should I do in between guitar builds that would be fun for people who like to watch this channel? And she suggested that I do a drawing lesson. And so I asked on the last video that I posted what you would like to learn to draw. And a bunch of people said they wanted to learn how to draw faces or figures, hands. So I thought I would combine all of those and teach you how to draw a picture of me playing the guitar, because I'm vain like that. Actually, I think this drawing in particular is going to give me an opportunity to demonstrate a few ideas, some things that I think about when I draw and how I think about drawing. So this will be a fun little project. It's a silly little cartoon of me playing the guitar. I want to start this off by saying that I am not a trained cartoonist. There are channels out there if you want to learn the correct proportions of a human being and how to draw figures in a true way. There are other channels out there to watch. This is not going to be that lesson. This lesson is about getting comfortable drawing and getting comfortable doing cartoons. And I was going to try and do some sort of figure drawing, like eloquent thing, and then I realized, you know what, this is more where I live. Every time I go on a trip, I bring a journal with me and I draw in my journal different things from different experiences that I've had. So like here's some guys singing a song, and here's me asleep on a train. I just find characters, moments, things that made me happy or that I want to remember that I wouldn't remember if I didn't use cartoons to document it. This one is from my honeymoon, and it's got all kinds of drawings. Here's us under a rain cloud. The rain was chasing us all over Europe, so we're chained to a rain cloud. Here's us on a roller coaster. Just all these cool experiences and funny moments that happened while we were traveling, I put into these journals. So whenever we were at a cafe or whatever, I was just doodling and just documenting these memories, which I think is a really cool thing. The first lesson that I want to teach you is that you shouldn't get upset if the drawing doesn't end up looking like my drawing or like the one that's in your head when you start drawing. So for me, these two pictures here, they don't look the way they were exactly in my head. They sort of took on a life of their own as they were going. They also don't look like the other artists that I studied and liked throughout the years. They look like I drew them. And that is perfect. That's how drawings should be. It should look like you drew them. And a lot of people get insecure about that and go like, well, I can't draw, or it doesn't look the way that I wanted it to, or it doesn't look the way that I had it in my head. And that is fine. That is part of art. And that is part of you expressing yourself. And I think that that is good. And don't let that stop you from developing your cartoon style. So here are two cartoons. The next thing that I want to point out is that there's a lot of motion here, character, detail. I didn't just spit these out like this. I didn't just freely draw them. I have drawings in here that I haven't finished yet, and that will give you sort of a better idea of my method of drawing. So this is me, this is my head right here. This is, or will be, Parker's head. He was on my shoulders. And then Duncan was strapped to my chest. And I remember this moment. We were watching the fireworks at Disneyland Paris. And I thought it was funny that I had two kids at various levels and we were all watching. And I think Duncan had fallen asleep at that moment. And so I was going to draw this out and finish it. But this, since I didn't finish it, is a great example of how I sketch things out before I start putting any ink onto the page. The reason I showed you that is because we're not going to just jump right in to drawing a picture. We're going to do construction lines, and construction lines are something that I avoided a lot when I first started drawing. I wanted to get straight into the drawing. I wanted to draw the emotion. I wanted to draw the facial features. I wanted to just start with the eyes and build out from there. And you can do that, but I've learned over the years that by creating a structure, it's more like I'm molding something and it becomes what I need it to become, as opposed to me trying to photocopy an image that's in my head onto a piece of paper. It doesn't work as well for me. The way I look at it is like this. If you're gonna make a face out of clay, you don't just start molding the skin and the nose and the eyes in around nothingness. You have something there. You start off with like a ball that you squish, and then you pull pieces onto it, or you pull pieces out of it and push into it. You start with a basic structure, and that's how I start with my drawings. I start with a really rough quasi three-dimensional drawing that I can sort of add things to or take things away from. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna start off by making a skeleton of me that we compose in whatever way we want until we get it where we like it, and then we can start adding some meat to it. So let's do my head first. My head's gonna be a little bit above the middle of the page. So if you're looking at the page here, we're gonna draw my head here. And I personally like to draw heads, when I'm cartooning at least, more like an egg. So here's my egg, and I actually don't like where that's positioned, and that's fine. I'm still in the sketching phase. I'm drawing things really lightly, and I can draw over and over again as much as I want until I find the shape that I like. So I want my egg like totally tipped back. My head's gonna be tipped back. And what I like to do is then divide the head, or the egg shape, into half right along wherever the middle of the head's gonna be. So if the head is turned, that shape is gonna be a curve, and I wanna curve it. So I'm gonna do this. That's gonna be my center line, and I'll reference that as I go. And then I do another center line going this way. So at this point, my nose will eventually go here. The head is tipped back. I'm like really enjoying the music. You can kind of see that I did something similar in this drawing here. My head is tipped back to the side. I'm looking up into the distance. So that is the head. Then I will draw a line, and this is going to be kind of a curved line because I want to have kind of a curve to my body here. It's almost like you're putting a balloon string on my head. So my head's a balloon, and then you can sort of bend the string wherever you want it to go. So this is like directly under my head, down into my body is this line here, and I can build off of that. So like for shoulders, I would go something like this, and then my hips, something like that. And that gives me the shape of me kind of arching my back while I'm holding this guitar. And now we've got arms, and we've got these joints here. These are the joints of the model that we're working on. So these joints can be attached to legs and arms, and those have their own joints. So I'm gonna, let's have my arm come out to here, and we'll put another joint here and back up. So that's one arm right there. And then this arm's gonna be holding a guitar. So I'm gonna make that's gonna be my hand. So it's just like a little square. And if I'm going too fast, or you're like, wait, hold up. That's the nice thing about videos. You can pause, you can rewind, you can go back and forth. It doesn't matter. That's what's nice about this. If you were here, you could say, wait, and I'd stop and wait for you. But since it's video, this is how we're gonna do it. And now I'm gonna draw a center line of the guitar. So I'm trying to figure out where that guitar is gonna land. Let's have it be like this. This is just the center of the guitar. And then we'll draw like it's a banjo, a circle down here, and then a smaller circle up here, kind of overlapping. And that gives us our general shape of the guitar. And now, let's see, in the drawing that I did, I'm playing the guitar here, but I think I actually want to be like, yeah, like that with my other arm, kind of like I just strummed really hard. So I'm gonna do a straight line across. There would be a joint here, an elbow right here, but I'm just gonna go straight across, like I'm really rocking out. And you can pose me however you want in your drawing. So you can put me in whatever position you want because you have this skeleton work to work with. Okay, now I'm gonna have my knee come out to here. That's my knee right there. And bend it in like this. and that's where my foot's gonna go. And then my other foot is gonna be like straight out this way. And it'll live somewhere right like that. Okay, so now we have our skeleton. Our skeleton is in place. It looks like a bunch of squiggly lines, but that's okay. Now we get to put in some detail, and we're never pushing hard with our pencil. We never have to push hard with our pencil until we are totally happy with where those lines are gonna go. And for me, I won't ever push hard with the pencil because my pencil is my sketching tool. My marker is my drawing tool. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to draw a nose. So that's my nose right there. And then my eyes are gonna be closed. I'm just gonna be enjoying this. And the eyes go on that center line like that. So I've got one here, also on that center line. If we come back here, that's where my ear's gonna go, somewhere in here. And I'm gonna have a big old smile because I love playing guitar. So I'm just drawing like a little smile, and then I can bring that mouth down like this to give myself a real big kind of smile. And then I'll put some teeth in there. So that's my top row of teeth. You can't see my bottom row of teeth. Sometimes I'll put a lip in, and I'm gonna give myself the expression of like, yeah, my eyebrows going up, like, yeah, I'm just loving this. This is great. Okay, so there's my face. You can kind of see my face taking shape there. And now I like to do the hairline next. Everybody kind of draws differently, but I like to go up about a little more than halfway between that center line and the top of the head. So here's the top of the head, here's the center line. I like to go to about there, maybe a little higher. And just kind of roughly put in a hairline. And then I've got really curly hair, so I can kind of go wild with it and do whatever I want. And now we've kind of got a face, and we can build our body off of that. And we want to start with the things that are in front. So we know this arm is going to go across everything. So we're going to bring down the neck like this here. And the shoulders actually kind of come down like this to these joints here. And you'll notice I'm just adding lines to it, just sort of bulking it out a little bit at a time and trying to find where those lines are that I want to use later. And if I do a line and I don't like it, it doesn't matter. I don't have to use that line in the end. So it can be a really liney, spaghetti mess of sketching, and it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it's whatever lines I choose to be the final lines. If I get it on there, it helps me visualize it, but it's not set in stone. So here's what we're gonna do. With arms, your forearm kind of goes bigger to smaller down to your wrist. So I've got this elbow joint here, so I know it's gonna be bigger here and then get smaller down here, okay? There we go. And then this arm, at least for me, if I had more muscle, it would be a much more defined arm. But I'm not. I know where I stand with stuff. So that's how my arm's gonna look. It's just gonna be kind of like that, like a little sausage. And then I'll draw sort of where my sleeve will go, and I build out from there. I don't follow the arm perfectly. I give a little room for the sleeve to sort of flow and be its own thing. Okay, so that is what's in front. And it's just as simple as that. It doesn't need to be anything fantastic. I'm gonna just kind of sketch in some fingers here. We'll deal with the hand later. The hands are always like the hardest part. We'll deal with them later. That's usually how I draw. I'll just deal with those hands later. Okay, next is the guitar. So we've got this little snowman shape of the guitar, but I'm going to focus on the neck first because the neck is the structure of the guitar. And since we have this nice center line already here, all I'm going to do is try and sketch out lines on equal sides of that center line. So just trying to keep them all equally apart there. And the neck is actually going to end kind of closer to where this part of the snowman is, maybe a little bit up like that, right around there. And now we're going to use this snowman figure to we'll kind of go like this, ease out those sides a little bit, follow this one pretty close down here, and then bring this up a little bit like that, a little bit further out from the snowman. So these are just sort of guide lines for me, and then I can sort of sketch in the actual guitar. Going with a Stratocaster style guitar. We'll give it a sort of a Stratocaster style headstock too. There we go. Not perfect, but it doesn't need to be. Okay, now my back is not just a stick, so I'm gonna bring this around like this. All right, here's what we've got. So far we've got this sort of sketched into place, and now we're gonna do the legs. Now you could just do lines like this. You could just draw it like that, and that would be fine. No one's gonna judge you. I like to put just a little bit more of the shape of a human in there, and I like to like knobby up the knees a little bit, skinny out the ankles a little bit, like just sort of, I don't know, add my own flair to it. So I'll make like a calf muscle, and then there we go. And of course I've got to wear some shorts because it's not that kind of drawing lesson. There we go. This is turning out pretty funny, I think. All right, at this point I would start to get serious with my pencil if I was gonna use a pencil for this whole thing, but I'm gonna use a fine tip Sharpie marker to choose my lines. And really all I'm doing here is tracing. So it takes a lot of the heat off. This doesn't look like a final drawing yet. It doesn't look like how I want it to look, but it's in there. It's in there somewhere. I just need to find it and trace it. So let's see, I'll start with the face because that's the part I'm the most comfortable with. So I'll just kind of get a nose going here, and my eyes locked in, and I'm just sort of locking things into place. Finding the shapes that I like, trying to ignore the things that I don't like, and just lock it into position. Okay, I'm doing some interesting stuff right here. This is a little cartoon trick. I'll actually draw my tongue in there, and then I will bring it in a little bit like this, and that just kind of helps add to the three-dimensional illusion. Go up here like this, and here like this, and I'm not going to connect my chin. The reason I'm not connecting my chin is because that way it sort of looks more attached to my neck. So I did overlap my line a little bit past the neckline, but I didn't draw the line all the way across. And the reason I did that is, again, just to make it look like it's all one piece as opposed to a head that's been plopped onto a neck. And then for clothing openings, I like to go around, kind of like Saturn's rings, around wherever they're open. So I kind of did an opening like that, and then I'll come up just a little bit past that and find my line there, okay? But I'm getting ahead of myself. I gotta finish my hair up here. And the nice thing about hair, it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't, you can kind of sketch out the hair as you go in making the lines. So you're still kind of in that sketching phase when you do hair. At least when you do my messy hair. And then we're gonna come over here and we're going to, instead of using straight lines, like for clothing, it's rare on your arm, which is this circular thing, to see a sleeve be just a line. Typically you see it at an angle coming towards you, so it will be round, or away from you, so it'll be round in the other direction. This one, we're kind of looking down on it, so I'm gonna make the arm, make the sleeve like that. So you notice how I used a curved, I used a little curve there instead of a straight line for my sleeve. And now I'll just come in here and follow whatever line I think I like the best. Here, there. Okay, now, remember how I said we'll save the hand for later? Unfortunately, I gotta do the hand now. And I didn't do a great job sketching it out. So the hands, typically they come out on both sides. They'll come away from the wrist and out on both sides. And then you sort of find where these, I'm gonna be pinching like a pick right here. Like that, and then I always do 4 fingers, or 3 fingers and a thumb when I'm doing cartooning. The reason I do that is it's way easier. That's the only reason. And I try and draw the fingers, whichever fingers are gonna be the closest to the camera, I guess, if this was a picture, whatever's closest to the camera. So if I was gonna draw my hand like this, I would draw this finger first and then put these fingers behind that finger. So if that makes sense, I wouldn't start on this end and then try and work in where these other fingers are. I always start with whatever's closest to the viewer of the drawing. And it's not a perfect hand, and I've gotten really used to that. Like, it's a cartoon, it's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. Sometimes with hands, I'll show you as an example over here, is I will do the bottom and the top of the hand, and then not touch the rest of the hand until I've drawn other elements. So like for this guitar, I'm gonna carry this line all the way down and just use that as a string. So these will be strings of the guitar. Like that. And the back end of this as well. Just I'm just finding the lines that I like. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and I am totally fine with that. I have accepted that. Maybe I'll put some tuning pegs on here. Okay, cool. So now I've got a space for my hand, but I don't have my hand in there yet. I'm gonna do, let's see, this hand is gonna be like this. So I'll find the knuckles first. There's some knuckles. And then I'll draw the hand around that to the arm. Now I've got to put some fingers in here. So I'm gonna come around here, put a finger in. Let's see, maybe this one is there, and then this one is here. So now we've got this hand sort of in place, and I just sort of filled in these fingers based on where the top and the bottom of the hand were gonna be. Now we'll put the guitar in here. And I'm just finding those lines. Again, the drawing's already drawn. I'm just finding which lines make the best drawing out of the lines that I've put in here. And let's see, let's do some guitar details. Just since this is a guitar channel, might as well put a couple details in there. There we go, okay. Now I'm gonna come around here. Again, the back of my shirt carries on behind my neck and would come out on the other side here. And down, like this. This arm would come up behind the guitar like this. And that. Okay, we're halfway through my body now, more than halfway through my body. Now we'll go over here, and here's a little thing that I like to do. I'll like to draw a line and then carry over the edge of a shirt over to the other side. So I bring the shirt around like this to here, like this. So it's got kind of a curve down back over my pants, and then I'll draw the top of the pants, and then I'll pick the shirt back up over here and connect it to this part of the shirt over here. And it sort of adds a little fold in the clothing, like it's going over my pants. They're interacting. Whenever you can have things interacting in a cartoon, it's really helpful to sell what it is that you're doing. It's not just like random pieces that you put together. Here's the shape of a shirt, here's the shape of a shorts, here's the shape of a leg. It's these things fall over each other, go around each other. So little details like that can go a long way to really sell the three-dimensional motion of your drawing. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna come over here, and in this case, I didn't even see a line that I liked. So I kind of drew one that was a little higher up. That's fine to do as well. Let's see, with this one, we're gonna go here like this, and with this one, we'll go like this. Again, I'm gonna do the same trick over here that I did over here. I'm gonna draw part of the leg, and then bring that part of the pants around the leg. Here, part of the leg, part of the leg. Kind of a knobby knee, that's kind of fun. And then, again, bringing it from under the leg back up into the drawing. There we go. Okay. And with this, I'm going to do the top of the shoe. Let's see, it'll go like that. That's the opening for the shoe, and I'll deal with the shoe in a second. I'm gonna start with the knee because it's gonna overlap. Back of the leg, calf muscle down, front of the leg, and then the opening to the shoe. So now we've got almost everything except for the shoes. I like to keep shoes really simple in cartoons because no one's really looking at the feet anyway. So I'll do something like start from behind the leg, same sort of trick as before. So it's behind the leg, and we can kind of even do that to make it all go together. Do a simple shoe shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, they just really look like slippers, but that's okay. And then throw some laces on there. No one's looking at the shoes. The shoes aren't the focal point. If they're looking at the shoes, you've got other problems going on with your drawing. The focal point is like the face, the facial features, and the big body movement that's happening here. And now we have our core drawing. And now I'm going to show you a couple little tricks that I like to do to sort of stylize the drawing and make it so it's not just like a drawing, it's like a full cartoon. I like to use these high polymer erasers. I think they do a really good job getting rid of pencil marks. And since you've done this in ink, you can just erase over everything and it'll take off the pencil marks and leave the ink behind. So when I was little, my dad used to paint Christmas windows for extra money at the holiday time. So he was always painting Santa Claus and elves and Christmas trees, snowmen, reindeer on businesses' windows during the Christmas season. And one of the tricks that my dad taught me was to outline everything in white. When the windows were dark, it really made the drawing pop out more. And so I started to develop that into my line drawings, and I actually outline everything in black. So I do a thicker outline over everything, and it cleans up the image, allows me one last chance to like move lines a little bit, kind of shape things a little better. And I do that with a regular size Sharpie. My method for this is to not go into the drawing at all. So I only stay on the outside edges like this. And I'm not gonna follow the line into the drawing. I'm gonna stay on the outside. And I'll even do it on the inside like this, where the actual outline of the drawing would be. So like here in the arm area here, this you're seeing through my arm. So I would still outline just that portion. Does that make sense? I'm basically outlining wherever you would see through me. So like if my hand was here, I would outline this as well because you're seeing the background behind me, and then along here. But I would never outline like the inside of my shirt or my mouth or anything like that. All of those lines stay the size that they are. And what you end up with is a really cool effect where it just looks a little bit more final, a little bit more intentional, and less sketchy. Now this does take a little bit of practice because I remember when I first started doing this, I would always just mindlessly keep following the line into the drawing. And if that happens, it happens, it's okay. But I really like the final look when you manage to keep it just on the outside. Perfect. So now it's kind of like you have a coloring page. You can color it however you want. I will give a little bit of tips when using colored pencils. So I always start off with like the lighter colors. So like my skin tone is not this light, but I'm going to start off with that lighter color and add to it. And one thing that I've noticed people that are really good at coloring things in or illustrating with colored pencils is they don't just use the color that says like peach for skin tone or blue for the sky. They'll use a whole mix of colors. So I'm not gonna just stop with my drawing being colored in just straight colors. I'm going to add colors to my colors. So we've got that. Now I'm going to add a little of this and try it on the edges and bring it in. And that way I can keep some of the lighter color as like highlights. And again, just like with my sketching, I keep it really, really light. I would rather build up layers of color as opposed to pressing really hard and just getting streaks of a solid color. And then you can come in with an even darker color and really get shadows. So like you would go for the bottom, running along the bottom of the leg, or just under the pant line, just under the shirt line, behind the guitar. Anywhere where a shadow would be cast, you can put in a darker color and create depth to your drawing. Like that. Okay, I'm gonna do some blue for my shirt. Again, I'm using multiple colors to really add more of a texture to it and create a more interesting color to look at. Again, where there's stuff crossing over other things, I can put some shadow tones in there. Perfect. I'm actually wearing maroon pants today, so and then hair is always really fun because you can mess with the texture that you're using to color it. So like I'm doing a little bit more squiggly directional lines, and you can mess with lots of different shades within that. So I'm using different kinds of brown, black. Hair's like a real texture, so. And then I've always wanted a Daphne blue guitar. I don't know why, but I'm gonna give myself one in this drawing. So there we go. And a rosewood fretboard, because why not, since we're here. There we go. Perfect. Another nice little touch is to take like a gray color and just do a little, like a light sketching underneath what you're drawing. Just like that, to create a shadow. And we're done, look at that. Look at me, I'm rocking out in drawing form. And you can see that these two drawings are different. They aren't exactly the same. The pose is different, the face shape is different. I'm not very consistent, but I think this goes to show you that it's not every drawing is gonna look the same, and that's great. That's how it should be. And I think, personally, I think that I improved. I think that this was kind of my practice, like, okay, this is what I'm gonna teach how to draw. And then as I was drawing it a second time, I think I improved on it. And I think that's a really good lesson to end this on, is that if you want to get good at drawing or cartooning or painting or any type of art, you need to do it over and over and over again. And that's really how you perfect it. That's how you get to a point where you are expressing yourself artistically and telling people a story through your drawing or your cartoon or whatever it is you're doing. Anyway, that's all the time I have for this episode of Gifted Guitars. Thanks for being here, even though it's a different style video. Let me know in the comment section if you like this type of video, if you want me to make more of this type of video. The next time I post on this channel, it will be a guitar build, the beginning of a guitar build for a new guitar that I think it's like the prettiest guitar I've ever made. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And you're gonna love going through the story of this guitar with me. So I highly recommend, if you haven't yet, subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification icon so that you get notified when I post that video, because I'm not sure if it's going to be next week. It could be next week or the following week, but the next video I post here is going to be the new guitar build, and you're not going to want to miss it. It's really, really a fun build. If you did follow along and do the drawing, please post it up on Twitter or Instagram, tag me in it. Let me see what you did. Let me see what we did together. I feel like it's so cool that we can do that on social media and share experiences like this. So if you did this, please post it up on Twitter or Instagram and tag me in it. If you didn't do it, start the video over and follow along and post an image of that onto Twitter or Instagram so I can see it, because I want to see your drawings. I want to see what you did. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next time.